snacks. Oh boy, what it do, snackers and snackettes? Oh man, this is your boy Gage. As you can see, Sin is in the building.
What's
and
happening?
Joke is in the building.
Yo.
But we have been joined by three people who make us look better because they're here.
Pretty much.
Oh goodness.
Joe Colton cosplay, Maggie's Madness, and Shady Haze is back. This is Shady. This is episode 2 for you.
Yes.
Hey.
You've been here
Last
twice.
time was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 3 weeks ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something like that. I want to say hey to everybody in the crowd. Yes, Little Jokes is on time.
It's on time. I wasn't being late for this.
Somehow he managed to make it. So I know you all know that normally on a Tuesday we get together and we do the whole Loading Snacks Weekly where we talk about pop culture and things that are happening in the last week. Today is special. Today we are doing our Being Comfortable Being a Geek panel, which will be shown again. If you look at the bottom of the screen, you can see it says Virtual Comic-Con.
Yeah,
and it actually says, it's really tiny, but it says Shady Presents. Shady Presents Virtual Comic-Con. Isn't that right, Shady?
Yes. Small letter. Very
small.
The graphic designer was like, "Oh, sorry." It's like, it's fine.
So while we're doing this live now, this will be shown again during Virtual Comic-Con. J. Robert Dean says good evening to Joe and Maggie and Shady and wants to know how y'all are doing.
Good.
Surviving well.
Robert Dean.
He's going by so fast. It's like almost the end of June.
It's not almost.
This year's a blip.
Don't do that.
My birthday hasn't even come up yet.
That's exactly right. We have, what do we like? 2 weeks out from your birthday, right, Sin?
Yes.
It's almost time.
Yep.
Hey, listen. While we're talking about your birthday, how old are you going to be? I'm sorry.
He's gonna be fine.
Listen.
22.
That's not really where I was gonna go. I just couldn't help myself. More importantly, yesterday was Maggie's birthday, so everybody say happy birthday to Maggie.
Happy birthday, Maggie!
There are a couple of things I want to say. First and foremost, I am glad that you are, after your birthday, still sober enough to come do this with us. That's important. And I appreciate that. Listen, Marcus, don't rush June to be over just because you lost a bet, dude. You can't do what you want to do until after. Until after.
Hate on One Piece so bad.
July 1st, you're off the hook.
That's right. So here's the deal. Here's what's going on. So tonight, again, Being Comfortable Being a Geek. This is a panel that we do several times a year. And for us, what's special about this is we like to bring other people in because we like to get other people's perspectives, talk about what it's like for them being a geek, how they grew up or not, what things are like currently and so forth. And so having the opportunity to bring other people on and get other perspectives, I think is not only important for us and for each other, but for everybody who's watching and whoever sees this later. And so these panels have grown for us and become more and more important. Hey, listen, I see Ty is in the chat. Y'all see late Ty's in the chat?
Oh,
he finally decided to show up.
He's just letting us know he showed up on time tonight. Welcome, Ty. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna start with a little bit of a litmus test because this is how we get to know each other. Now, most of you all who are watching, you're pretty familiar with myself and what my opinions of things like Batman or Sin's opinion of Superman, who, by the way, just kind of eked his way into Fortnite. You see that?
He
Sin?
sure did.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I'm ready to boot it up just so I can kill him as many times as possible.
My daughter definitely texted me like first thing this morning. I was like, anyway. So you guys know how we feel. You guys know that Jokes is very little. Likes Pokemon and Digimon and not familiar with.
It's okay.
It's not a knock on you, Shady.
Go ahead and hate. That's fine. Hate all you.
You got some backup today jokes with Shady?
He does. He does have a little backup. It's fine.
It's okay.
It's fine.
Digimon is far superior to Pokemon.
Here we go. We're getting there. We're getting there. Oh, I like where this is going already. Maggie, listen. We just had an opening in the Loading Snacks crew. and we need a person. So
I mean, I can just delete all the videos that we have on hard drives, and you guys can start.
Nobody's scared of you.
Hey, I was about to do this.
Oh man,
I'm still in control as well too, so I can pull myself out of timeout there,
right over the icon,
and I can do the same thing too. Thank you, good sir.
I love you, jokes. I love you, jokes. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a litmus test. Okay,
We're like 7 minutes in.
Yeah. Are we having a good time yet? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so listen. Here's what we're gonna do. It's just quick. Just pick one or the other. Hey, Heather. Joe.
Uh-huh.
The Daily Planet or the Daily Bugle? Pick one.
Daily Planet.
Where's her button so I can kick her out?
Not having it.
You weren't prepared.
I'm gonna tell you something.
Okay.
I'm not a huge Spider-Man fan.
That's okay. That's okay.
That's
I'm
fine.
not even gonna send you backstage.
Kind
It's okay.
kind of a whiny bitch.
I mean, he's a child. He's a strong child.
Hey, jokes. Did she know what she just said?
Now, listen. I'm just gonna point at the hat and the pictures and the images and the fine. Like,
I did like Miles Morales.
Oh, I think I need that on a shirt.
okay, we'll keep that. You should put that on a shirt.
Did we
Maggie.
double check? We're allowed to curse, right?
I mean, whatever.
Yeah, Joe has already done it.
It's too late. Maggie.
Yeah.
Predator or aliens?
Aliens.
Okay. Shady. You get the snack related question. Cake or donuts?
ooh, cake.
Cake over donuts. I'm with that. Okay. Here's the hard one. This one is for all of you.
Okay.
One must go.
Oh,
Hufflepuff or Slytherin?
Hufflepuff.
Hufflepuff.
I'm so Slytherin.
Thank you.
My house is
I
Slytherin.
love it.
Seriously,
You all get to
Slytherin
say we're
house,
good.
please.
I'm Slytherin.
You all get to say. We're good with this.
Wendell will be disappointed, but
It hurt a lot, Lindsay. It hurt a lot.
Yeah.
I'm over it though. Okay, so check this out. This is what we're gonna do. We just want to talk a little bit about. I want to get an idea from you all. Again, this is about being comfortable being a geek, but I think that over time, what a geek is has maybe changed a bit, and so I kind of just want to get your personal. I'm not looking for like a Webster's dictionary. I just kind of want to get your personal idea of what a geek is. What does it mean to be a geek? Maggie, you go first.
goody.
Yeah. Welcome to the spot.
Spotlight.
No pressure.
So
Nah.
I guess I associate geek with somebody who's very much into pop culture references, may have like one fandom that they are over the top about.
Sure. I think
I don't know.
I think that's good. Like
On the right path.
Because
do
like
you
I
all
like
agree with
then I
that?
go like nerd
Yeah.
is more of like a book smart person versus like
Okay.
so like that's the person like that is a whiz at math or whatever.
Okay. Do you I've noticed over the last few years that nerd and geek seem to overlap. Like that people use
Right.
both.
Yeah.
But I think the
I mean,
differentiator you gave is probably the correct
Right.
one.
So I think it all kind of just depends on where you associate yourself. So like I'm a geek and a nerd. I have
Okay.
very like book savvy things that I associate myself with. I was completely into science as a kid. I have a rock collection. I went to like science fairs, like district science fairs, national science fairs. I was in chess
Wait, because you were
competitions.
competing, but like not for fun, just to go see what other people were doing.
No, I was competing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was
That's awesome.
like I was the only female chess competitor in my town.
Wow.
So I have those things that I started with. So I started more of a nerd and then got into the more geeky stuff as I got older.
Okay.
Because I didn't we watched a lot of movies, but I didn't read comics a lot. I really wasn't even a big book reader when I was a kid. Like I hated reading books, so it wasn't until like college that I actually like got into Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings. But like I was a huge movie buff, so like I could tell you anything and everything about a lot of movies. I still can.
But you weren't into the books. That wasn't your thing.
No,
initially.
No, like actual reading, no. But like science, math, I got it. That was my thing as a kid, and then I finally expanded once I got to college and like found books that like were actually fun to read.
Yeah, I dig that. Joe, are you kind of in the same boat? Do you think the difference between a geek and a nerd is? Would you agree with what Maggie said about that?
Yeah, I would. I think growing up, I was a big nerd, very scholastic. I didn't have a rock collection, but I collected buttons.
Well, Henry Brooks in the chat said, you're not cool if you don't have a rock collection, but I think collecting buttons might be on the same path.
Like I was the kid with braces.
Like when you say buttons, are we talking like pins or are we talking like buttons, like sewing?
Buttons.
Really?
Like
okay.
Buttons. Like I still have buttons. Like I have jars of just buttons.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, you never know when you may need a button.
Right.
Yeah.
I know if I need one, where to go.
Yep.
It looks like this. Do you have a matching one?
And the answer is probably at the bottom of a jar somewhere.
Yep, right.
You literally have like mason jars of buttons.
I've got like the Nescafe coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cans.
Yeah. Like back home I've got like tons of those. I've got buckets of buttons, like pins and like the actual buttons that you like nerd buttons.
Sure.
Buttons. And then like here I started just doing the Nescafe jars of buttons. And then I have a tin of like pin buttons and geek buttons. I'm trying to keep it limited because I also collect toys, so it's like I'm a collector.
Cool. My dad, she said she has tons of buttons. I'm positive that's true. I'm positive she has replaced buttons for me over and over again. Shady, where are you on the geek / nerd? Are you on the line? Are you a little bit of both?
I'm a little bit of both. I would agree with Maggie and Joe. Growing up in an Asian American household, it's like you have to like be good in school and like study, and there's no room for like C's and stuff. So it was like part of the culture, but it's also like something like I like to do as well. So being a geek and then being a nerd too. Like I mean, I started collecting comic books when I was like 7, and then toys, but I didn't get into like the cosplay realm until like later because I didn't know about any of that.
Yeah.
But in school, it'd be like people would call me like a nerd or a geek just because of like studying, but also like bringing comics to school and just reading that instead of like regular books. So it's like a mix of both. And I got like both terms were being like labeled as well. So it's like it's like what you said. It's intertwined, like both.
Yeah, I mean, I think Marcus said I collected tops and Nat Geo archaeology stuff when I was younger. When you say tops, do you mean like baseball and
spinning tops,
or you mean like actual?
Like spin
you didn't. It weren't 2P, so you must mean spinning tops.
Yeah,
that's cool. Sin.
Yo,
I've known you for I don't know 30 years or something like that.
Very long time, yes.
And you've always been a geek.
Facts.
Always.
Facts.
Would you ever have considered yourself a nerd?
No.
Not at all.
People might have, but I wasn't like, kind of like they've been saying, I've always looked at it as nerd being the more book smart and geeks is just read comic books and all that kind of stuff. Book smart, that was never my thing whatsoever. People on the outside may have just called me a nerd or whatever but like, nah, I don't do that stuff. I don't got the pocket protector, and I'm not the one you want to cheat on in class. That's not me.
Hey!
Whoa.
I mean, Joe, did you have a pocket protector?
It doesn't matter.
I mean, it does. It matters. It matters a little for this particular conversation. Jokes.
Yo.
I would go out on a limb and say you're a little bit of both.
Right on the money.
A little bit of both.
I would definitely say growing up, kind of like how Shady was, parents didn't play. It was like, hey, you need to do everything to keep on the honor roll, do all this and that. That's kind of would help to, especially Power Rangers. If I wanted that toy, it was like, hey, look, I just aced this test. Can I get that giant Megazord over there? Can we do this now? Can we? So there was like a correlation between the two of them as always. So it's like, yeah, I'm getting these good grades, but I kind of need that Megazord to kind of go along with these good grades.
I get that. I mean,
small toy. Like, I want Megazord.
Yeah, it's like I got I want the biggest toy here. Let me have the largest toy in the room, please, and thank you.
But as long as grades were on point, it kind of was just like, we think we can do that for you. But there were definitely times where it was like, no, you gonna hold out until Christmas.
Was there, Maggie? You said you didn't start getting into, like at least reading stuff like that until you were already in college.
Yeah.
But at at what point would you say? Let's do this. What are your favorite fandoms?
So. I grew up on Star Trek.
Okay.
I didn't even see Star Wars till college.
Wow. Okay.
So like I was raised on an original series, grew up watching Next Gen as they aired, and that is my series. But then
Picard is my captain. I just want to make that clear. Picard is my captain.
100.
He is the captain.
Okay.
But like we watched so much stuff because I'm from Alaska. During the winters, there is nothing to do during the winter because it's dark. It is freaking cold. So we just watched movies like all the time. We would go to the store and just buy whatever was new.
Really?
So I grew up watching like the most random sci-fi stuff. Totally grew up like I'm a huge Disney fan. I'm slowly inducting Joe into the Disney world because she knows nothing about it.
Nothing.
Yeah. Let's talk about that for a second.
Disney is so good.
Why is that a thing?
Why is it that now?
Hey, Sam. Why is that a thing? How come you don't know Disney? I mean, it just seems so.
Because what? Did you say?
You never watched it.
Oh, I never watched it.
Like none of it, like not on TV, like no Disney day off. You never went to the theater and saw Pocahontas or like Little Mermaid. None of it. Like
I saw Aladdin, Little Mermaid, Snow White, Cinderella, Lion King, and that's it. There's a list. Like Julie and Maggie made a list. There's like 80 movies of Disney. Yeah. I've only seen like 5.
What? Oh my god! I freaking love Disney.
Right. So like we finally introduced her to Frozen. We introduced her to Moana. So she's at least starting to catch. We did Brave. So the only new princess she hasn't seen is Tiana.
The girl with the hair down the.
Yes, Tangled. We watched Tangled as well. But the only one she hasn't seen yet of like the new princesses is Tiana. Like we finally at least got her caught up.
You saw Raya already? Raya the last.
Oh, we haven't watched that one. That one's we have to add that to the list now.
That's too new. Yeah. That's too new. It's interesting. Henry says it's weird to be 40 years old and being able to be so comfortable with being a geek or a nerd. When I was a kid or a teenager, even it was a bad thing. You couldn't express it openly. And I would agree with that to a certain extent. Did any of you have trouble as kids with liking what you liked or being accepted? Maggie's like, nope. I wish they would. I'd have beat them all up. Like what? Like Maggie.
You're not wrong. I was very much one person tried to make fun of me and pick on me, and that stopped quickly. And then no one bothered or picked on me.
That set the precedent, huh?
Nice. Because I was a nerd and I was on the good side of all the teachers. Even if I did something wrong, no one would believe it.
Were you also tall back then too? Were you taller?
So 6th grade, I was the same height as my teacher.
Oh wow! Okay, I get it.
So I've been like 5'7" since 6th grade.
They left you alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a giant.
It took me until I was, I don't know, 24 to get 5'7". So yeah.
Like, I got to that height and then I just stopped. But like I was bigger than everyone for a very long time.
So that wasn't an issue for you.
No.
I think that's definitely a big deal. I didn't personally have major issues with that kind of stuff. I think just because a lot of it is the people I was around, but
Right.
you know, I well, in school, you know, when you're in elementary school, most of that stuff is like, you know, like the toys and the things that like I was into, the Thundercats and the Transformers and the He-Man and all that. Like everybody's into that, so it doesn't really matter. That kind of stuff, I don't feel like starts to become an issue until you get to like middle school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, middle school is the worst.
Was it tough for you, Shady?
Oh well, I was made fun in middle school because I was like literally like myself, so I was being made fun of for being like gay. So it wasn't it was comics too, but it was also it was a mix of both, of like comics and then like, you know, who I was as a person, because in my household, my mom and my dad, they're like very open and they're just like, just be yourself. So literally I've never like hid being a geek or, you know, just being gay. It wasn't like, oh, hide it, like don't tell anybody, or like, you know, dress a certain way. It was just like, oh, just be whoever you want. And I was just like confused and why people were like
why other people had issues with it.
Exactly, yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think there is something in that, and you know, when you consider that most of the time anything people don't understand, they tend to put right. And so whether that is actually someone's personal choice in sexuality, or it's because you just don't understand how Soundwave can be as tall as a building and transform into something that fits in your pocket. Like you don't understand, right? So you push it away, right? And then there comes a point, I think, where somebody makes a decision that you're too old for that, right? That like you are supposed to give that up and get more serious about other things, the things that somebody else decided was okay or was cool. Doctor Who and I went to the same middle school. Middle school sucked. To not be super into boys and want to discuss Saturday morning cartoons, I dig it. You know,
I was bullied quite a bit because both my parents. You've probably seen my mom. She's like a little Greek immigrant lady. Like my dad's the same.
She looks like the most sweetheart there is.
100.
Yeah.
He's probably took his nails, but she looks like the most sweetheart there is.
Probably a little firecracker.
Yeah, she's a firecracker.
I got it.
Depends on the day.
Mm-hmm.
But I get teased for being a geek and having like Greek parents with like bringing Greek food to school, and like we weren't rich, so it was like whatever you had, and like I would read comic books at lunch, or go to the library and eat my ethnic food, but after I got beat up a couple times, my dad was like, all right, we're going to teach you how to box. And then I got really into martial arts. And then that stopped very quickly.
How young were you when you say you got beat up a couple of times? Like, how young were you?
So a girl tried to choke me in the 3rd grade.
What?
And was that...
A little boy had to pull her off me. And apparently my mom said that I had like her hand marks on my neck. I was like a scrawny, like tiny kid, and like really quiet. And my dad walked into the, up in Canada, it's called the Board of Education. So like whatever the regional district school board is here. And like my dad worked construction. So like straight from construction, walks in, the secretary is like, you don't have an appointment, and he was like, I fucking paid for your job, and like walked right in. And so I sat there smiling, and they were like, we're gonna expel your daughter because she was in a fight, and he was like, you will transfer my daughter, or you will not have, your wife will not have a husband. And so
transfer order.
A different school.
And transfer sign.
Yeah, my dad's real old school, so they the next day I was in another school, and it was funny. 3 years
The next
later,
day?
that girl got into the school, like, because it was a middle junior school, so it was like up to grade 8, whereas the old school I went to was only up to 5. And so in grade 6, she came there, and she walked up to me the first day, and she was like, "I hope we don't have a problem." And by that point, I was already in martial arts, and I was like, "No, you won't have a problem."
Yeah. You better hope you don't have a problem.
Yeah, she apologized years later.
Oh wow.
And she was like, "I was really messed up," and I was like, "I don't care.
Yeah.
Just don't ever lay your hands on me." So
I mean, I get it. Do you know why? I mean, was she just doing that to you because
I was a foreign?
Was it because you were small? Was it because you like stuff?
It was because so from what I gather now as an adult, she, like, her parents were separating, and her father was a big racist, and they didn't like foreign people. And
got it.
My mom I was very ethnic, so like
and it was what she was
taught
from
school.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I get it. That's definitely tough. The martial arts thing, though it allowed you to have defense, was that? I mean, when I was a kid, I took like Taekwondo for a while. I was in Boy Scouts. Like, if you name it, I did it. I took tap, jazz, and ballet,
out of Girl Guides,
like, all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
None of it was cool. None of that stuff is cool, right? Like, it doesn't bother me at all now that I ever did any of those things. I'm happy and proud that I did those things, but they certainly weren't things that, like, you could go to school with the next day. See, look, there's my mom. Don't mess with my child. My mom was also a tiny firecracker. She was a teacher. She was in the building, and my mom was the teacher that all the bad kids got sent to. So most of the time, people left me alone. That's probably part of it. But I didn't really have bullies, so to speak. Sin, did you have bullies?
Nah, just the occasional nerd and stuff like that. But nah, no bullies. Nobody that want to try to fight me for anything. Like, I stayed to myself. You know, I had my group of friends, did the band. You know, that was my squad. That was my people. You know, say hi about other people in passing, but no bullying and nothing like that. Nah.
Does everybody on the panel feel the same, that kind of like middle school is where things start to go awry a little bit if you're into this kind of stuff and you're not ready to give it up?
People don't know. They're like confused and trying to figure out who they are, and anything different is like weird to them, and they're just like, no, this is not it.
Yeah, middle school was
that's trifling.
Really, I had 2 groups of friends come middle school because one, I'd already started in the band, so I was playing trumpet by the time of them. But then I was on the other side of the fence, and I played on the basketball team. So this was like a weird combination. So the friends that I had in the band, you know, we were talking like Yu-Gi-Oh cards. We would do those type of things. But then the basketball friends necessarily didn't quite understand those type of things. After a while, you know, a few of them was like, hold on, let me get in. Let me see this right quick. When we started playing, as you get older, you start playing for like money. So then everyone kind of looks like, wait. Did you just win $20 from playing that little card game there? I was like,
let me just start by saying you're not supposed to be gambling in school. Let me just start.
You're not supposed to be.
Yu-Gi-Oh cards or not.
That's not a thing.
But so I kind of had both sets of friends. I really wasn't bullied. You know, I think I had those people that probably looked at me a little bit weird. Like, I was the kid that had the Yu-Gi-Oh cards, but I was the guy I was also one of those that had like the Jordans on. So I had both sets of friends who, ironically enough, as we grew up, we all kind of ended up crossing and having like this same type of interest way down the road. Like back then, you know, they didn't necessarily want to own up to like watching anime and watching those Saturday morning cartoons, to now they look at us on the show and like, hey, yo, I love what you guys do on the show. I'm watching this and that and this and that. I need you to explain this to me. It's a cool thing to see.
Yeah.
Let me show y'all a lie. Watch this. You see this? This is a straight up lie. That is not true. That is so not true. Yeah, high school. I mean, when I got to high school, I was like 4'7" when I got to high school, right? But fortunately, my sister was popular. She was a cheerleader, you know what I mean, and she knew all the football players and all the basketball players, and so by proxy, they all knew me, and so I kind of had a little bit of leeway where I could kind of do what I wanted because people didn't pick with me just because there was this line of kind of like and I don't think I came into even what I would define as being close to cool until probably in like the 11th grade, give or take, when I started I'm just going to do what I do. I'm just going to do what I want to do and do it the way I want to do it. You know what I mean? And just, and I was fortunate to have really, really great friends who were all into the things that I was into, and I never felt out of place. I always personally felt like I could have a conversation with the people in gym who were talking about whatever was going on in the NBA while also having a conversation with anybody who was having a conversation about what just happened in the X-Men comic book or what happened, on Saturday morning cartoons. Like, that was always just kind of where I was. I kind of just sat in the middle, and it made it easy for me. I just don't. I mean, I also didn't have a lot of space for people who picked on other people. Mm-hmm. So there were a few times when I got into things with other people who were picking on other people.
I'll agree. I also have had those instances. Like, you guys actually know my friend that we met back at BlurCon. It had been so many years, and ironically we ran into each other at BlurCon. But back in school, he was the small kid, and folks would try to pick on him so much. So I was the one that had to be. That's when I became kind of the small, like the bad guy, because I was looking out for him, because if they were just trying to pick on him because he was the little kid. So that was the one time I would say, I don't want to say that, I don't think bully is the word, but it was like, if you tried to mess with him, I was a whole different person. Like,
I get it. J. Robert Dean says he was one of the few white kids in a predominantly black middle school and high school, but because he's from a poor part of town, he was accepted. His nerd stuff crossed over with a lot of his classmates, and his humor helped. He still uses that humor. We'll use it in a few minutes, I guarantee you. I guarantee you. You see this?
When I got to high school, it was easier because more people were in there.
She would have took your cards. What? I'm sorry. What were you saying?
I think it got easier in high school for everybody, at least where I grew up, because everyone kind of like Shady said, found themselves in what they were into, and everybody kind of like accepted each other. And so, I could read the comic books, and watch cartoons, and like go to a con, and also like play basketball or hockey or figure skating or whatever. Yeah. And so it was easier that way. But yeah, middle school was kind of rough for a little bit.
I can dig it. I do want to. I saw you pop that up there, Kidlet. You're right.
Don't go to
easier to avoid if you don't go. However, let me just explain that. Like, technically, those people never go away. You really do just learn to deal with people as people are. And what I've come to understand as an adult is a lot like what Joe was explaining with the young lady who at least made an attempt to apologize and said, you know what, things were really messed up for me. And, she unfortunately took it out on someone else. But most of the time, people who are bullies because something is happening to them. They're probably being bullied at home, or they have certain rules and regulations that they have to abide by, and they tend to take it out on other people. And realistically, it doesn't ever actually go all the way away. It just becomes it's in the comment sections. It's what I mean. It doesn't go away, but you learn how to deal with it. And when you learn how to deal with people who have those kinds of things going on, how you handle those things teaches people generally not to do those kinds of things because it ends up being a waste of their own energy. And so I think all of us in some manner learn how to deflect so that we don't have to deal. In some cases we hide. Did any of you ever feel like you had to hide who you were or what you liked or what you enjoyed doing?
Not really.
No.
That's a great thing. I mean, I think a lot of people
Being
do.
yourself.
Yeah. I mean, if you had to try to pinpoint it, when would you say you became comfortable as a geek or a nerd? Lindsay says, I've gotten older. Rude comments have stayed the same. My comebacks have gotten a lot better, though. That's a real thing, Lindsay, and I'm proud of you for that. That's absolutely awesome. See, I think the other thing is when you're a child, you feel like you're alone or like you're very niche. That the things that you're into, it's only a couple of you, and everybody else seems to be into the things that are supposed to be cool.
Right.
And so when somebody picks on you, you feel alone. And I think as you're an adult, especially doing what we do, like attending conventions and stuff like that, just shows you the sheer number of people who love what you love and are into what you're into. And it just kind of gives you that, one, as an adult, I can do what I want. But two, I'm not by myself. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not alone. I like there's something about it. It's like I can't be, because clearly like Star Trek has run on TV for how many decades? You know what I mean? Like clearly there are people who love this and who are into it.
Right.
But if you're watching it at home and nobody knows, you don't have to, you know what I mean? Like I do feel like there are people who are grown and hide it. Henry says even celebrities nowadays are being more comfortable being a nerd. There are celebrities that are on Twitch right now playing Fortnite. You're right.
That's 100%. That's fact.
They're pulling Pokemon cards.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't Henry Cavill like he
Build
D&D, I think.
to like build his computer to play some new game?
Yep. It's like since Dungeons and Dragons, like he's into a lot of it.
Yeah. I mean, it begins to legitimize some of it. I think part of what's happening is a lot of the people, when I was a child, there was a more defining line, I think, between when you were supposed to stop enjoying what you were enjoying and what it is now. I think that currently, if you're growing up now, or if you grew up, say, Jokes in your bracket or Shady in your bracket, right? People who are hitting their late 20s, early 30s are now beginning to take over pop culture. Like they're, you know what I mean? And so like they're making it okay from a mainstream perspective. They're putting it out there for people because they grew up that way, right? And so if you're 30 and you grew up on Dragon Ball, it's okay. And everybody knows what it is, right? But when Sin and I were watching Dragon Ball, nobody knew but us. You know what I mean? Like, that wasn't a thing. And it was cool to us to be able to say, we know something you don't, right?
You know, one of my greatest nerd moments was when I started working at the grocery store. And somehow Dragon Ball like just started infecting the store. So it would be like 8 o'clock, like I don't even know what time it is. We would take those VHS tapes we have, go up in the break room. They couldn't find none of us on the floor. We all there watching like 3 episodes back to back.
And that's before self checkout. So y'all probably get in trouble.
We left the cashiers with everybody else. Nah, we was upstairs.
Does geekdom, or not being a nerd, but the geek part of it, does it run in the family for all of you? Like, where do you feel like you get it from?
My mom was a big Trek head.
Yeah.
My dad is a huge like sci-fi fantasy like reader.
Yeah.
And he also loves dressing up in costume.
Okay.
So like the costume thing I've been doing for a long time, because like Halloween was like a big deal in my house, and we handmade every costume. And my dad still makes handmade costumes, and he's
sweet
67.
Wow.
So like, yeah, and he's so like he completely is just okay with it because he's an artist. He paints. So art has always been a big thing in our house. So like that was just another step in art to him.
Yeah.
So like he was just like, yeah, sure, go have fun, dress up, make that costume. That looks really cool.
That's cool.
How'd you do that?
Is that a thing that was specific to your family, or is that like you think it has anything to do with like where you grew up? Was Halloween just like that big of a deal in the town? Is it
so
no?
because in Alaska there's snow on the ground at Halloween.
Sure.
So most of the time your costume is covered by a snowsuit.
Got
it wasn't necessarily for like actually going out and trick-or-treating or going to holiday parties. It was for us. It was just for fun in the house. And then you got dressed up in all your snow gear and then you went trick-or-treating.
Got it. So
Same in Canada. Like you'd have like 2 feet of snow and you'd be in a snowsuit. Like with like whatever costume you had underneath.
You're basically just out collecting candy that day. Like you don't even
it's like looking like the Michelin Kid.
Yeah.
Oh,
Joe,
my
what about
mom
you?
was into Trek as well, but dad was military, so he wasn't really into anything other than like reading comics when he was real young.
Okay.
But he did. He was encouraging of me buying like GI Joes, so I got to pick a Joe or a Joe comic every 2 weeks when we go to the corner store. Like I could pick one thing, and so
wow.
I'd pick like maybe like an X-Men comic 1 week and then like G.I. Joe 2 weeks later. And then if I was good, I'd get like a figure or a vehicle.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's how we met you. You and Maggie.
Yeah.
Was at a Joe table. Mm-hmm. I want to say at Awesome Con. Maybe it was Baltimore.
I think. Remember. Maybe in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Might have been Baltimore. It's definitely how I met you.
Baltimore.
Yeah.
Her being into Joe is my fault, and I regret nothing.
You absolutely shouldn't. My mom and I watched the new Snake Eyes trailer the other day, and she was like, G.I. Joe. And I was like, yeah. Probably going to be terrible, but I have to watch it. So probably going to be bad. What about you, Shady?
Definitely terrible. I love it.
My mom's side, my dad's not really, he's very quiet and timid, but on my mom's side, my uncle, he's into like DC Comics, and I got into theater in high school, so that was when I was like really comfortable in being like a nerd or geek, because a lot of people wanted to be in musicals because that was a popular thing, because it was just, it's, you can express yourself. So I did comics, and drawing was from my mom. She likes to paint, and she implemented that with my sister and I. So
yeah, I dig that. It definitely was a thing in my family. Joe is the best Scarlet out there. Maggie's got a solid Lady J, man.
No, I don't.
Not at all. You don't have one at all.
No.
Who's your favorite Joe? I remember that when we talked, this Joe was like new for you. Like the first time we met you, G.I. Joe was very new for you.
Mm-hmm.
Is that also Joe's fault? Did she do that to you?
Right. She was like, hey, we have this group. You should make one. I think she told me to do CoverGirl, and I was like, no. You're not telling me which character to do. I'll do a little research and pick one myself.
I was trying to help.
So I picked the one character that doesn't like Scarlet. That is also she's still a Joe, but she's a bit of an asshole, and doesn't like Scarlet. So I was just like, I'm doing Agent Helix. I know nothing about her, but I'm doing her.
It worked out.
It's okay, did it on purpose, because
clearly,
I love her, and she just was like, "No, you can't hug me."
But then I got my Cobra like Viper, and like that's the one I wear the most. Just because it's got all the pockets and I look badass, and
you have to have a cigar. When she doesn't have a cigar, like people get upset. Like,
I started a thing because we had so many Vipers that like we all were like, we need something to like differentiate us, and mine was I like would not wear the bucket very often, and it always had a cigar, and so like that became a thing. And like other cons, they'd be like, where's your cigar? I'm like, I have to buy a new one. I haven't gotten one, and I'm not putting the one that's 6 years old in my mouth.
Right. You can't just make a fake one you can keep.
I could, but
okay, it's not the same.
It's
not the same. I get that. Dr. Who said her mom made paper dolls. I don't think. I mean, paper dolls were definitely a thing when I was a kid, but I don't think my mom. I don't think anybody made them. Definitely not a thing for me. My dad was definitely a Trek guy. Original Trek. Spock was my dude. Spock was absolutely my dude. I don't even know why. He just was the one. He was the one. And so, spoiler alert, when Spock died, I was hurt. You hear me? Hurt.
I don't even know if you should be able to consider that a spoiler alert. I mean, how long has that been now? Since
Longer than you've been alive, sir. So
exactly.
Here we go.
And
I was
even
waiting
know.
for one of those.
longer than you've been alive, little jokes.
But at first for Spock, probably you were excited for that.
Absolutely. Search for Spock was important. It was important because just the name alone meant he can't be dead. Yep. That's all I really needed to know. It was the death of Spock and the death of Optimus Prime were like the most traumatic things in my childhood. Was like, why would you do these two things? Why would you get rid of these two people? And then of course Leonard Nimoy is in both of them.
Both of them.
In both movies. I don't, you know what I mean?
You couldn't escape it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, it's cool, Shady. Do what you gotta do. We're all right. Shady's gotta break out for a moment. We're just okay.
I didn't know how she did that.
So when
I just I like move my mouse too. I'm like, wait, that's a thing I can do?
Yeah.
I can chat in here?
Sure.
Guys, I work in IT. This is
it's you haven't seen this before. It's okay.
Did you not see me yesterday for 3 hours trying to get your stupid video? Like I made you a video. I tried to make that birthday video and it was awful. Like I couldn't get 3 minutes to work.
What? I mean, that's
3 hours.
That is that the nerd side of you is not as dominant as the geek side of you. Is what it sounds like to me.
Like, Wes was like, "Babe, you just gotta give up," and I was like, "No!"
Like,
no
there it is.
That's it right there.
He's like, "Put the phone down. She knows you love her," and I was like, "No!"
Oh, well, you can say happy birthday again right now.
No, it's okay. She's gonna tell me to shut up.
J. Robert Dean says, without specific details, he wonders if some of his nerdiness is a protest because his mom hated most of what he loved, Trek and comics and etc. I would be interested to know how strong hate's a strong word. How strong of a hate you mean, and was it because she felt like you should be focused on other things? I think that does happen to a lot of people. I think a lot of people's parents are like, you need to focus on these things, and maybe because like you all were
grow up, you need to get a good job.
Yeah. I think a lot of times that definitely is it. For us, it's not just the comics or the cartoons; it's also the video games, right? It's just like that's still a thing. It continues to be a thing.
Mom still comes down to help. Like she gets excited. She's like, "What are you ladies working on?" And then she'll come down and she wants to like work on something. She's like, "Give me something." So like 2 years ago, I gave her like 3 months worth of beading to do. I was like, "Here, you can bead with me."
Oh my goodness!
But
did you just give her busy work?
No,
that's what she wants. She wants to do it.
Oh, okay.
She asked for it, so hey.
Yeah. Like
cool.
She expected us to like bring over stuff we're working on so she can help us like do fittings.
Yeah.
And then yell at us when we say ow because she stabs us.
Wait, she yells at you because you said ow?
Yeah.
Oh, I like
she'll actually hit you. Say stop it.
What? After you
even though she stabbed you with the pin.
Okay. No owing in front of mom. Got it.
Well, or she'll say, "Stop it. It's not that bad." And you're like, "You're still going. You're still going." She's like, "Okay, relax. It's not. I'm not killing you."
Got it. J. Robert Dean said that his mom thought comics were a waste of paper and fine art, and literature were more important. She thought Trek was okay to watch once, but it's silly, so watch and move on. You know what?
Can't watch Trek just once.
I'm positive that there are a lot of people who feel the same way. You know what I mean? I'm sure she isn't and wasn't alone
Star
in that.
Trek, that cell phone of yours needs to go in the trash. Then there, Sin. If you think that it's not
No,
worth it.
I just like no. Don't be wrong. Don't take that as hate of any kind. It's just Star Trek just wasn't my thing. Growing up, that's all.
Dig it.
I have no love or hate or whatever. When I'm indifferent to it, I've watched, seen all the movies. I watched Next Generation. It's just now. I think I was more Star Wars growing up. Still is.
Right.
They still definitely am. And I blame that on my mother's side of the family. They were definitely the ones that got me into, good Lord, everything, I think. Probably some video games. My dad started that chain of events by giving me an Atari 2600. But no, my aunts, uncles, hey, watch this anime that you should not be watching at this age, but it's awesome and we like it, so you're going to watch blood, guts, and sex. Like, okay.
I did that to my siblings.
Yeah.
Check this one out. It's called Berserk. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah, watch this. It's called Wicked City.
That's one of them. Wicked City, Fist of North Star, Crime, Framing, The Guyver, nothing but blood, guts, and sex. And now I got anime everywhere.
Everywhere. Here's a little Legend of the Overfiend. Never forget it. Real thing. So, again, all of you seem extremely comfortable with who you are and being a geek now. Maggie, that doesn't seem like it was much of a transition for you.
No, it was just more of a shift of the focus, I think.
Yeah. Joe,
I've always read a lot, so it doesn't, like, I watch cartoons still. It's not really like, I think it's more of a shock to my husband about how much stuff I have geek wise.
I mean, he's a pretty serious geek.
Yeah, but he doesn't collect anything. He has like a pop of what like him and Maggie do the pop thing. Like every costume they have a pop or a figure or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I collect everything.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's probably a running theme. Like somebody did mention in there that like OCD is probably a running theme for a lot of us, like collecting things and keeping things and holding on to things and not getting rid of things and
hoarding
things. I mean, sure.
Especially during this pandemic, you just collect, like, you start a new hobby.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I
started oil painting during the pandemic. Like,
did you?
I did like 8 paintings.
Oh, wow.
And they're not small.
No, kill them.
They're not small.
Oh,
nice.
Whoa.
Are you selling them or
I was
what?
about to say, why are you not having a table? Wait.
Yeah, Maggie needs a table.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's pretty.
Wait. Hold on.
Hold up. Put that one back up.
Yeah, put that.
Hold on. Let me see. Do it again.
Yo.
That's
nice. That's really pretty.
Yeah.
Maggie.
That's badass.
What?
Let me get a print.
Yeah, make that too.
Well, wait. Let me get a print.
There's an even bigger one.
Charge him for a print.
This one I can't even get on the screen.
So from Picard, she took the 2 paintings and merged them into one of the twins.
Maggie, you were busy.
Yeah.
Nice.
Is this like?
I don't even have them all because I gave them as like gifts and stuff.
Well, I want you to know we're not snitches, but I do want to know whether or not like this is stuff you were doing when you were like supposed to be working from home. Was this
yeah.
No, I was totally on phone calls the entire time.
I want to see.
That's
wow.
That's cool.
Yeah. You kept busy.
Yeah.
Is that now okay? So you just decided to pick up a brush. I'm gonna assume it wasn't like you had never painted before.
I only acrylics.
Okay.
So I decided, I was like, let's try oil paints. Why not?
Yeah, Sam. Maggie wins quarantine,
right?
I was like, I started collecting roses and doing roses and stuff, and she's like oil painting. I was like, all right, you win.
You got it.
Brooks wants to know if you're doing cons. Are you going to be tabling? They want to know. Come on, Maggie.
If you're not going to do the cons, do the table. At least you got to have like an online store or something. Somewhere we're going to have everything up at.
Yeah, you need a virtual store.
Right.
Facebook.
Maggie's like, leave me alone. Girl, I beat up, but I can't beat you up because it's virtual.
I don't even have this one anymore because I gave it to my little brother.
Hey,
Oh, that's cute.
He ought to be super proud to have that. That's dope.
Yeah.
Show the one you did of the tower for Julie.
Oh yeah, the
hair girl
tower. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. You stayed busy.
Yeah, I did 1, 2, 3, 4,
Cuddy
5,
said
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 paintings.
Wow.
that's almost a painting a month for the entire
Yeah.
quarantine.
Basically.
That's pretty solid.
Awesome.
So
I just collected Funko Pops. Oh, God.
I know.
I got furloughed in April, and I was like the youngest of like being like a social media email marketing manager. And they're like, "Okay, you're furloughed. Here's money." And I was like, "Ooh, what do I do with all this money? I will buy a bunch of nerdy stuff and just put it in my room. Put it in my gaming room. I mean, not my gaming room, my stream room. Put it in the hallway. Everything."
Oh man! Everybody say what's up to the guys at Real Comic Book Talk.
Not done enough.
What's up? What's up? Yeah, I definitely think you should start an Etsy shop, and you can take it slowly.
Yeah.
My mother said so. You don't have a choice now.
Do it.
Yep.
Now you don't have a choice.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's kind of how that works. Listen,
this is your photography thing all over again, where I was like, "Do it. Just make a logo. Just do it."
Yeah.
Are you overwhelmed with other like geeky things to do between like creating?
I also did like 20 puzzles over the quarantine too.
Yeah.
Well,
like 1,000-piece puzzles.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, she
By
made it.
yourself? Did you have help?
Yeah, most of the time it was myself. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's tough. I like puzzles, but I mostly play them in video game form and do a whole lot of physical puzzles.
I would probably do that if I had those, but yeah, it was my meditation basically, just to like not think about work, because now that you're working from home, it's really hard to walk away from it.
Yeah, it's there and it's in front of you. Yeah, Sim knows that well. He's stuck in the house. Stuck inside.
JR, we did wrap me in duct tape.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
Did we do that this year?
No, we did.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we did. Because we had to send that to his mom.
Okay. Oh yes, okay, that's fine.
If it helped you at the moment, you should do it again. Like, I don't see any reason not to. Yeah. Sam said mostly went through puberty during the quarantine, so starting to feel a little left behind. Hey, listen, let me tell you something. Everybody's left behind. Everybody was stuck somewhere and didn't get to do all the things that they thought that they were going to be able to do or that they wanted to do. We certainly didn't get to see each other as much as we would have liked to, and in person the way we would like to have. So Dr. Who says I make digital art of my friends, and I'll set up a craft room, and then you'll see all the madness. You should absolutely do that.
Do that, definitely.
You should absolutely do that, and let it out. I want to say that I think that it's really, really dope that everybody here is so comfortable. I know that's not easy for all people. And I like we run into it all the time. You know what I mean? We see it in people who just, I think it's getting better. I think that the focus is over the last couple of years on like mental wellness, and finding things that help keep you attuned, have become just regular. It's regular to start talking about the things that are on your mind or bothering you and so forth. You know what? No, Marcus. Let me explain, Marcus.
He kicked everybody out the house to make sure this panel.
Right. Just go out for 2 hours. Just leave it be.
Go somewhere.
The little one is not in the house playing Fortnite, and on FaceTime with 3 people while on The Sims on the PC. Like the bandwidth has just been nice today. That's really what that comes down to. I would like to before we there's a lot more safe. I agree with that, Henry. There's a lot more safe places for nerds and geek to congregate. And thank you. I'm glad you like this platform. You will always be welcome here. Everybody is. And I think that's the thing that we're striving for, is to just find places where everybody's welcome. I think for a long time we only felt that good when we're at a convention. And you had to get with people who love those things. Hey, listen. If you put together
the telethon, though.
Yeah, he did. He did say telephone.
We can gauge a whole.
I mean, somebody's answering phones. Jokes doesn't even know what that is.
I do know what a telethon. Hey, look. Stop.
What, little Jokes?
Stop.
Listen. I think that especially over the last year, because a lot of people couldn't do conventions, I think a lot of people started to feel like a little more lost than they had. They just didn't get, some of that same camaraderie that typically you get. I mean, really, once con season kicks off, it just runs. Like, it's, you know what I mean? It's all summer and at least into a good part of the fall and the winter. Being able to get away with people and just kind of have a couple, especially some of the cons that some of these all-nighter cons that we managed to spend some time at.
Yeah.
How many cons do you guys go to a year?
I think the easiest way to say it, if it's between DC, Maryland, and Virginia, probably damn near all of them, probably. Yeah. But I think Otakon is probably the only one I think is really the exception that we really haven't attacked, really.
I mean, there are some smaller cons we might not make it to, like Southern Maryland or something like that, but I don't know. But awesome in Baltimore, and if we can get there in New York, we do want to do Dragon, but we haven't yet. We do
Katsu and Mag.
Katsu, we do Mag, we do
Blurred,
generally.
Ocean City.
And it seems like every year something new is coming too. So for us, it's not just cons, but there are, again, there's Nerd Prom, and there's like Nerd Luau coming up this week, and there's all the transcendent events like Nerdpocalypse stuff, like Nerdpocalypse and whatever. There's like bar crawls and there, you know what I mean? And it just is the nerd thing is really beginning to bleed into all of the everyday things that used to just be for the sports buff, or you know what I mean, or like the I don't know, the motorcycle enthusiast or what have you.
Lindsay.
Yeah, Lindsay. Lindsay, by the way, you see her, and she is an awesome photographer.
Facts.
So if you're not following Lindsay, make sure you check her out. Lindsay Cessna Photography. Lindsay's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, so we do a lot of shows, and again, that's one of the things that just like we stay busy, and that helps us, I think. And as you do that, like your nerd circle, your geek circle begins to expand, and you begin to know a lot of people, and you have more people. I spent a lot of time trying to make sure that, for me personally, like my kids learn to focus on our similarities first, because generally speaking, once you know you have things in common, the things that you don't have in common tend to not be as important, right? So, I can remember as a kid having friends in like elementary school and talking to them in class when maybe I wasn't supposed to be talking, and playing with them at recess and whatever. And then like, I don't know, Hanukkah would come around and they'd be gone, and they'd come back and they'd be like, "Where were you?" And they're like, "Hanukkah." I'm like, "Oh." And it doesn't matter that you do something. It's just, "Oh, you do something different? Talk to me about that." You know what I mean? Like, it just, we know we all like the same things, and we're into the same things, and we play with the same toys, and we play the same games, and, all the regular stuff. Some people are faster than others or whatever, but the things that were different about us didn't seem to matter as much once we already knew we had things in common. And I just think if we focus on those things more often, all the rest of it kind of goes away. I don't think I was necessarily always completely comfortable personally being a geek. But it bled so heavily into the other things that I did that it didn't matter.
Yeah.
And so it's just always been a part of what I've done and who I am. But I certainly think that the increase in pop culture geek awareness is making it much easier. Because if you like something, there's a shirt for it everywhere.
Yeah.
There's a hat for it everywhere. There are pins and, you know what I mean? You know, decorative stuff. What's up, Wiz? Good to see you, man. There's stuff everywhere. Like there's no, I can remember like seeing a Spider-Man shirt and being like, I have to buy this because I'll never see one again. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like now,
you can add from them all day on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, don't even.
You can Google.
You know what I mean? Like,
you can search it on Etsy, and there's different variations too. So
exactly.
Like, you want to get like.
You know what's so hard to find? Martian Manhunter merch.
That is facts.
I don't know. I just still have. I love Martian Manhunter, and I have some stuff from honestly the like mid '90s that is still pretty cool. But I'm gonna tell you why I think that is, because WB is a struggling.
Man, that's facts too.
WB is a struggling, and I think that's what it is. When there were, if you remember, when there were WB stores, jokes. There used to be these stores called WB Warner Brothers stores.
Stop. I went to those. I went to the Disney store. I've been to all of those. So stop.
Okay, I just thought I've been to
the
yeah, and that stuff was dominant. Like I have Martian Manhunter ties and shirts, and I do keychains. Like, but that was
Martian Manhunter tie.
I was thinking the same thing.
I absolutely do.
You need to wear that for Tie Tuesday. Next Tie Tuesday, you need to wear that.
It's ugly, bro. Like, it's not. It don't matter. It's I have a lot of you know, it's like it's old. Like it's fat at the bottom, and like you know, I got Lion King ties. I got a tie with Wilson on it. Remember, he used to only look over the fence. Yeah. You watch what? Like I have a Wilson tie. I have.
Yeah, I got have like a tie like show from you.
I'm down. We can do that.
There's definitely seasons worth.
We're planning a new show called Show and Tell. We're just kind of show off like all our old like geeky stuff. It's gonna be awesome, and yeah, that could definitely be
fun.
Tons of stuff to show off. J. Robert Deans, I appreciate that the entire panel features no white dudes. Folks who look like me dominate nerd culture, and it's time for fresher voices. I mean, thank you. I wasn't sure where you were going with that, J. Robert Deans. I didn't know if you were going to be like, why didn't you invite me? Like, I want to talk about stuff. You know, you're always welcome, and we love you. Yes, but I also think you're right about that. And maybe, you know, it was harder when we were younger to be able to talk about that stuff because it didn't feel like it was for us. We just kind of had to take things and make it our own. But now I'm being threatened with ties. Oh Lord, photograph the collection. See what y'all do, man.
Try on your different ties.
Hey, you open that box of worms. So
do a TikTok of all your ties.
Oh, have you got an original Tomb Raider watch? Let's go. I'm with it. Are you shooting the pictures for me? Listen, them ties ain't coming out the house, so that's probably not happening. Here's what I want to do. I don't want to keep everybody too much longer. I think this was a really great conversation, and I appreciate everybody being here. So there are a couple of things we have to do. First and foremost, Jeffrey Lyles, I need to make sure this is there. Martian Manhunter lost his merchandise appeal when he put on pants. Well, I will post this. Thanks, Lindsay. Oh no, that is your dad. Hold on, I missed it. You guys are posting it so fast I can't keep up. Lindsay said I had the best ties, and I think it's just the knots. I don't know if it's the ties themselves. Yeah.
Nah, but you got some pretty interesting ties. It's like the couple, like when I was working like at the bank, like I had to stop because they didn't like me. Hey, they didn't like me wearing. The only couple that I had, like I got a couple Star Wars ones that I had got at one point, and I actually came to work with the Stormtrooper one on, and it was kind of like everyone was cool with it, but then it was like I don't know if you should kind of be wearing this. I'm like, why not? That was the one time I
they felt like it wasn't appropriate for like working at the bank for work.
I don't know.
I don't care, man. I wear my Star Wars ties on May 4th. That's about it. I don't always overdo it. I have tons of them though. Tons of them. Okay, so check this out. Shady. I wanna start with you.
Okay.
Because we're doing this as part of what will be in Virtual Comic-Con, tell me a little bit about Virtual Comic-Con and why it's a thing and how it became a thing and all of that jazz.
So Virtual Comic-Con is it started last year when the pandemic like happened. Like it was out of the blue. I was at work and they were like, okay, everybody has to work from home starting tomorrow. So then I was like, I should create a kind of like a Virtual Comic-Con online. So I told my friends and they're like, yeah, you should. So I just started like churning all this content and reaching out to people like you guys, and people started applying and it went like crazy. It was like overwhelming. It was like 1,000 applications, I think, like in total. Like,
jeez.
Like all over the US. So I had like 4 friends who had to like screen every application because I was like, I cannot do this by myself.
Yeah.
But we executed it and it was great. But yes, it's a lot of people. But basically people do panels, live streams, there's a cosplay contest online. There's we have a Discord for the individual artists that sell their artwork or do commissions. But it's all like, casual, just people, some people, they've never hosted a panel or a live stream, and, I give them the opportunity to do it just because they never get approved at cons because, they're new, or they want to talk about their cosplay journey, and that's still valid. So I let them, do that.
Yeah.
So, and then there's gaming too. So we have some people hosting games like Mario Kart and, Halo, over the weekend. So that was last year in April, and now we have another one for this year. But this probably is maybe the last one because I'm trying to host like an in-person, like small, like con where it's going to be like booths for artists and cosplayers, and it's going to be like a photo shoot con. So I found a venue that was like 12,000 square feet.
That's cool.
So I already got that approved, so I'm still like in the process. So I'm probably going to contact everybody here who wants to be a part of it.
There's another one. Add to the calendar. Add to the calendar.
Add it to the list.
This is gonna be like an actual thing, and like not big like Awesome Con or like Blurred Con, but it's gonna be like more of like cosplayers and creators like networking, where it's a photo shoot and you can create videos like TikToks, but also like taking photos. That's
a little more intimate.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll go from Virtual Comic-Con to in-person Comic-Con.
Yes.
Okay. I'm totally down. I'm gonna pop this up for everybody. Y'all just June 18th through the 20th.
Yep.
Virtual Comic-Con. For those of you who are here now, so you know to tune in later for that. Maggie, did you ever imagine that you could like make money from being a geek? Did you think that? No. So like the idea that people are like, sell me a painting.
Yeah. No.
The idea that people are like, you know what? Keep your painting, sell me a print.
So I have a degree in art, like with the concentration in photography. That was the. Is there an echo?
There is.
Yes.
There it is.
I'm not sure where it's coming from. It's all of a sudden, but
okay. So like the classes where I had to learn how to like basically sell myself and my artwork were terrible.
Oh.
I hated those classes. I'm not good at it. Even now, like if I do a commission of a costume, I always terrible at putting prices on things because I'm just like,
Got it.
So like I've done like, a handful of commissions of costumes. I've done a couple, like I sold some drawings like probably 15 years ago. At this point, I don't even know. And like little things here and there, like I still have like a pile of Doctor Who ornaments that I hand painted. Oh, I dropped that one. That have like the exploding TARDIS.
Really?
Yeah.
But you struggle to put a price on it.
Right.
Is that
So like
the problem?
I put them on Etsy for like, I think I put up for like $7 a piece or something. I don't know.
You know what's crazy is that we were talking about this thing called Ocean City Comic Con, where a lot of people go at the last minute to do their Christmas and like ornament shopping.
Right.
And I'm just saying, I'm just. You know what? It sounds like you just need an agent named Joe Colton.
I think
that's where it's at.
Yeah, I think that's the fix for all this. Yeah.
Just like give her a box of the shit I have this month.
Yeah, just.
We have a story about that. I can't sell anything, but I can.
Oh my god.
Of like your own or just period?
Of her own or someone else's.
Oh.
We got hired to run a booth for a friend, and she is too pretty to sell things. So she would show up, and everyone would disappear from the booth. She would leave me to go do a photo shoot, and I would sell like 5-10 things on my own. She would come back, everyone would disappear, and we'd be dead again. I would leave to go like pee.
Or
she would have no one. She would try to talk to people to bring them into the booth, and they would just like walk away faster.
I'd be like, hi. Yeah. I'd be like, hi, come in. And they'd be like, no.
Can't do it.
So then I did not, I was at a flea market that Becky Hawk did. And because of that experience, I legit wore like house clothes and like a
didn't
big
brush her hair. Yeah. Makeup.
I had like leftover makeup from like yesterday, put on glasses, and then like I sold like $400 worth of toys.
What? I don't understand.
Right.
Okay.
I don't understand.
She's so pretty that she's intimidating. So like people don't want to go talk to her or ask her things.
Okay. We're gonna
Trying to figure that. Add that
But
up.
Yeah, I don't.
At like going, Maggie, you should do this, and like getting like networking, I'm really good at, but like getting people to buy stuff is like hard.
Something doesn't compute because I swear, like I know for a fact that there are people who just hire like quote unquote booth babes just to be there to be pretty to sell stuff.
Right.
So booth babes usually only work towards certain people depending on what you're selling. Like we were selling clothing for women in this booth. So asking a woman to come in who's just a regular lady, and then Joe Colton is standing there wearing one of these things like cinched up crazy and makeup to hell. They're just like, oh, I'm never gonna look like that.
When this is over, we'll talk about my brief time at Victoria's Secret. In the meantime,
J. Robert Deeds.
In the meantime, I want to make sure that people know where to follow you all. So Maggie, I'm gonna start with you. Shady, we're gonna come back around to you. Maggie's Madness Cosplay.
On Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I think I'm on TikTok as Maggie's Madness too.
Do you tweet?
I have Twitter. I don't tweet unless I'm entering a contest or something because it's just one of those added.
Oh man,
I do have a Twitter.
That's fine.
I have no idea what the username is.
It's probably the same. I would have to imagine it's Maggie's Madness. Is that on everything else?
Yeah, but I've had Twitter longer.
Yeah.
How do I find my profile?
How do you find your name?
Yeah.
On TikTok?
No, on Twitter I'm just Kogan.
Oh, okay. Okay. It's just good old regular government.
Just me.
Okay. That's cool. That's the contest place.
TikTok I am Maggie's Madness.
Okay. Maggie's Madness. Go follow
Obviously, I
Maggie's
use all
madness.
of these things so often that I know what they are.
There is madness. Lots of makeup.
Yeah.
Lots of dope cosplay.
Lots of costuming.
And she's done more than a couple of commissions.
Oh, I'm sure.
She's
I'm sure.
modest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maggie looking at you like, stop snitching.
Yeah.
I know where you live.
Why are you doing this to me?
As soon as we get off this call, I'm gonna have some stern words with you, young lady.
We're gonna have a phone call and you're gonna stop talking.
Joe.
Yeah.
Joe Colton cosplay.
Yes. I'm on Facebook as Joe Colton Cosplay, Instagram as Joe Colton Cosplay, TikTok as Joe Colton Cosplay, and then Twitter is J Colton Cosplay.
Okay. J Colton. Couldn't get the Joe.
It was too long. They wouldn't let me.
Got it. That's not fair.
It was either Joe Colton Cosplay.
What?
No.
What? Okay.
Or J Colton. It was like 2 letters too long, and I was like, okay.
All right. J Colton it is. Okay. Before we talk to Shady again, what do you all have coming up? Where can people come find you? You're trekking somewhere. You're gonna go trek somewhere.
Yes.
Well, we actually have like a couple treks, but I don't know if we're gonna do anything at the other one. Had we talked about doing a live stream from
Yes.
Ticonderoga?
No, but we should. So we
You decided now.
We started doing a Trek Girls thing, and we did it for a while, and then life, work, whatever happened. And so, like, I keep saying, like, we need to start it up again, but I want to make a banner, and I have to get like a specific photo for said banner.
Right.
Yep.
So we have a trip coming up where we're going to Ticonderoga, where there's an official like original series set that you can do a tour of in costume.
Oh wow.
So we're going to be doing that at the end of June.
Yes.
And then in August, the second week in August, we're going to Star Trek Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Dragon Con in September.
Yeah.
Okay. Will
And
you
another
be
small con somewhere
at
else.
Dragon Con in Trek gear, or are we
We
doing?
usually
something
bring
different?
at least one. Yeah.
Okay. At least one. Okay. I like it. We're undecided on Baltimore yet.
When is that?
That's in October. It's like October 22nd.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
I think
It was.
We'll get there in some capacity.
Are they
I'm
doing
sure.
it? Is it a set thing?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. They announced it, I want to say 2 weeks ago, maybe 3.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. Something like that.
Work's
Just-
been hectic, so.
Yeah. Again, there's stuff happening for the rest of the year. They're all on top of each other because everybody's trying to squeeze them in.
Right.
I guess yes, since I think Harry Crossland is doing the red carpet event, and I've nominated 2 people on this group.
Mm.
Wow.
Mm.
Don't look at me like that.
Mm.
Yeah.
I like
Somebody's
it.
gonna
Since
get that stern phone call after this.
After this.
Mhm. It's gonna be really real. Shady,
See.
that Shady Haze
Everywhere.
across everything.
Everywhere.
Everything, everywhere.
YouTube, Instagram,
there, you want
Facebook,
it.
TikTok. All that.
I dig it.
All that.
You TikTok a lot.
A lot over the summer because of quarantine, but nah, it's too much now. Like I did it again because I had like a Pride photo shoot, and I was like, oh, let
Yeah, you
me
did.
do behind the scenes
Jump
stuff.
back in.
It was pretty nice. So
That was pretty awesome.
yeah,
I'm glad that went well. I liked what I saw. It's pretty cool. Appreciate you doing that for sure. I appreciate the 3 of you joining us this evening, late into the evening, hanging out with us,
Yes,
talking
yes.
about what it was like to beat people up who threatened you or get beaten up because people threatened you, or to have your dad threaten people because someone threatened you. It's
I'm nervous
you know,
about you meeting him now.
it's it's all cool. Yeah, this is cool. We definitely will do this again. for everybody who's here again, I greatly appreciate y'all doing it. Sin and Jokes, as usual. Jokes, you have a job to do. I'm gonna let you do that job. Sin, we're coming around to you.
Of course.
Little Jokes, you're on.
Cool. Dropping it right.
Okay.
Now.
So you may be able to see it in the chat. You can click on the chat. Our link tree is there. We have people who are here that are on YouTube or on Twitter or on Twitch or on Facebook. If you are following us in one place, please follow us everywhere else. That greatly helps. If you have not had the opportunity to check out our Patreon is where there are things you can't find anywhere else. We had a pretty good conversation for our very Patreon specific show, and we are cooking up some new things that are just for Patreon. We have the movie club coming up starting in July. That's going to be awesome. Again, the first movie is Black Widow. So we'll all, join into that chat. And at the end of the month, we'll have a really in-depth discussion. Spoiler boys!
Spoiler boys!
It's going to be that kind of a thing, but it'll be even more in-depth. On that note, I want you guys to know that Loki comes out at like 3 a.m.
And guess what? I will be up watching that.
Me too, because we have to do a Spoiler Boys.
Yes, we do.
We'll get that knocked out. That will go live on Monday in the MCU.
Need to make a post inside of MCU chat. Actually, now that you say that, because there's definitely not a place to talk about that right now. I need to fix that.
What happened? We'll take care of it. Again, in the link tree, you can find our link for the MCU chat. That is a great place to go if you want to be able to go somewhere safe to talk about spoilers without spoiling it for other people. You can go there. Spoiler Boys will post there at least 15 to 20 minutes, but the full hour, that is Patreon for sure. Anime chat is also linked there. We have a special anime conversation coming up on July 17th.
Yes,
Sin, please talk about that for me.
Yeah, well, since the Olympics is in Japan this year, we're going to talk about some of the popular sports animes, give them some shine. We'll be discussing Hajime no Ippo, Free, Kuroko's Basketball, Haiku, and Yowamushi's Pedal. So keep it around those sports that are actually like Olympic type of sports. Talk about them, the highs, the lows, the good, the bad, all that good stuff, and just have a great time.
Indeed. They're already talking about Spoiler Boys in the chat. They are. Listen, it's coming. Relax.
Don't worry. You gotta wait till the show comes out. I mean,
right? We have to watch it first.
I wish we had the inside track.
Before I go on with the next piece, do me a favor. Do your job.
Yes. So let's go and shout out our top tier patrons, starting with Anthony Cunningham, Marcus Houston, Susan Deutsch, and Tyrone Carson. Thank you very much. We truly, truly appreciate it.
I give you all spirit fingers, spirit fingers, and jazz hands. I appreciate you all. Tomorrow, all right, last week I made a boo-boo. Tomorrow, we are doing another panel, same time, top 10 wrestling finishers of all time. It's going to be serious. We're going to be joined by our good friend BP. Brandon Powell, who has his own Star Wars podcast, but also has a wrestling podcast. We will also be joined by my good friend Ellis Mbaye. You know him as Shocked Undertaker guy himself. So they will join us tomorrow for our top 10 wrestling finishers of all time. It's probably going to take longer than I hope.
Yeah, it is. We know it is.
Probably going to take longer than I hope. And then Thursday, we will be back for the regular Cutscenes video game show because technically E3 kicks off.
E3 is here
on Thursday, so we're going to have to discuss that. So we have to do that. And then Friday night, we'll be at Nerd Luau. So if you're going to the Nerd Luau, look for at least myself and Cindy. Jokes, are you coming to the Luau?
I think I'll be on gaming duty. I think I'm going to be here, and I think I'm going to stream something while you guys are there.
For me.
Okay.
Works for me. Sin and I will be in public. Jokes will be streaming on Twitch. We'll figure out what he's streaming later. Don't worry about it now. Hey, tune in over the next couple of days, and it'll all be there for you, I swear. Oh, boy, here it is. Okay, so look. Today's like the last day to get 15% off in our new merch shop. We have all kinds of stuff that's there. Look, the Pride flag tees are in. We have hats. We have baby onesies. There are water bottles.
Bandanas,
pajamas. Listen, y'all know
aprons.
At the end of every year, On New Year's, we always do Popeyes and
Popeyes and
pajamas. We get online and everybody wears their pajamas and we hang out and we have a good time. You can now have Loading Snacks pajamas of your own. It's a great time. Just y'all make sure you check out the merch shop. The spread shop is doing pretty well. I want to thank everybody who has already patronized the shop. It has been really, really awesome to see. We've had a lot of people that have been very thankful about what they've been able to find there. People who have or normally not able to find things in their size and so forth. There's tie-dye stuff there. There's shirts there with the American flags on the shoulders. Y'all, let's get ready. 4th of July's coming.
We got merch.
We got merch.
That's it. We got merch. Like is that the thing? Sin, you are now responsible for cutting that promo. And I need you to cut it like a wrestling promo.
Right.
Yes, Sam. Same time. I didn't say same bat channel because Batman is not a superhero. We'll save that for another day.
Yes, he is.
Here comes the fight. We love you all. Thank you all for joining us. Everybody in the chat. Most of the people in the chat also have their own channels, their own YouTubes, their own Twitches, their own Twitters. Please go follow each other. Again, we're building a community here. So please go follow each other and make sure that you guys turn around and tune back in a couple weeks. Virtual Comic-Con, because there's going to be all kinds of content happening, not just this. We did a bunch of interviews. We got people that it's going to be a good time. So thank you again for hanging out with us. We greatly appreciate it. For those of you who are here on the panel, don't go anywhere. For everybody else, we love you. We're out. Toodles and loos.